Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series, Tier Lists. I'm the Fear for Video Game Mashup, and we're actually going to review every killer in the game of Dead by Daylight from a standpoint of their ability to get 4Ks. And again, everything is my opinion. Nothing is set in stone. Please argue in Discord, the website, vgmu.live, or on the YouTube page, and basically give me your opinion. What do you think? What I get right, what I get wrong. Now, once again, this is from my perspective of what I feel will help you get a 4K. I'm going to be including all killer add-ons, their power, their speed, map control, things like that, to judge the killers, and it's going to go from a rank of SS all the way down to D, D the worst, SS the best, okay? And so I'm going to start off with Billy, my favorite killer in the game, by far. I think his insta-down chainsaw and his mobility and his ability to move from one side of the from the map to the other very quickly makes him extremely powerful. He has super fast add-ons that'll increase his charge up time, then controlling add-ons for making it easier to control, but you can even be as powerful with no add-ons, and it doesn't actually hinder him too much. Perks are a plus, but you can 4K with 0 perks on this killer, and it's all about time spent on the killer and getting better and better and better at it. So I'm going to put Billy as an SS tier. He is one of the best killers in the game. And since we're talking about what we consider the best killers in the game, I'm going to move on to the Nurse. Now, the Nurse had recently seen some sort of a nerf, and the nerf basically made it so that you had to control your blinks much more effectively. So you only have so much time, and it recharges between blinks now, making the 3-blink Nurse a kind of a thing of the past, in the sense that you're not going to see a whole lot of 3-blink Nurses anymore blow people away. But the people who were really good with the Nurse are going to continue to be good with the Nurse, and there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Nurse can go through pallet loops, can mind game. Yeah, there's some problems with it. There's some collision, and they're constantly working on that, but still the Nurse is the most powerful killer in the game. While the Billy is fantastic, he is limited by walls, by things stopping him, and certain maps kind of take him out of the game. He can still be effective on them. He can still get 4Ks on Leary. You can still get 4Ks on the game map, whereas those things don't slow down the Nurse. In fact, they excel on those types of maps. So I'm going to say right now, Nurse best killer in the game. Billy not too far behind. And now we're going to go in no particular order. We're just going to get through this. The next one is the Spirit. When the Spirit first came out, super powerful. You couldn't hear her. Then they changed it so that you could hear it, but you knew exactly where she was. And it was like a sound thing, and it made her super strong. Well, they nerfed both those. She's still a very strong killer. Mind games aplenty. Playing that game at the pallet, playing that game, oh, did he go left? Did he go right? Is he moving? Is he there? Is he not? There's so many opportunities for the Spirit to mind game that makes her an extremely good tool for a strong killer, a person who's really good at playing killer. So when I play her, I feel like I get a lot of 4Ks. She's extremely strong. She's not the strongest. She has no way to compete against a Billy or even a Nurse. But my question here is, do I put her on S or do I put her on A tier? Because I think she's fantastic, but she does have drawbacks. And you can get the game can kind of like disappear from you really quickly. But I'm going to put her at S tier. Next up, we have the Hag. Now, this is going to be a controversial one. Everyone has a different opinion on Hag. Some people think she's trash. Some people think she's amazing. I think she's kind of somewhere in the middle. In the right hands, she's insane. And Lark is one of those people that can play her exceptionally well. And when you see him play, you know where that time has been vested. He knows exactly when to go, when not to. It's a patience game. You set traps, and you wait for them to trigger it, and you wait for them to outplay themselves. And with saying that, it's a very strong killer, but I don't know if it's on the same level. I'm going to say it's a B tier killer. I have personally a lot of trouble, and I remember this is my list, I have a lot of trouble 4King with her. You can get a lot of points, but clinching that deal, getting beyond the 2 kills without camping is actually kind of difficult. And if you don't have a basement strat, that really slows her down. She's also a very slow killer. She's faster now, and her terror radius is very small, which really helps out. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put her at a B. Next up, we have the Legion. The Legion was the worst killer in the game and then got a rework. Does the Legion get better now? Yeah, the Legion's better than he was. I'm going to say playing against a Legion, not very fun. Playing on a Legion, not super rewarding. I find myself not using the Legion's power more often than not, unless I can see more than one survivor, or I think there's more than one survivor in the area. So that means his power, his or her power, kind of gets thrown out the window, and is not as effective. And I would say right now that this is the worst killer in the game. And it's not Legion's not fun to play against, and it's not a whole lot of fun to play. And without playing scummy, it leaves you wanting more. And more times than not, you'll end up with a 1K, but you got a lot of points. So again, this is all about 4King. This is the considered win condition here. And so for a Legion, without playing scummy, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Next up, my least favorite person to play the Plague. I'm almost at the point now, like, when I play a Plague, I just kind of want to DC and get out of the game, because the idea that the killer just has to puke on you, and then now you have no ability to heal. You remove so many aspects of, like, how to loop with that, and then now you're just waiting for her to bloodlust you and hit you one time instead of twice. Her add-ons are ridiculously overpowered for making puking into a broken state so easy. So certain perks are very overpowered. Like, for instance, you can see when people puke. That's kind of crazy. Having that awareness in the field really helps, and people have started to get really good at Plague. Is Plague an S tier or an SS? No, not even close. I would say that the Plague is pretty powerful because of the win conditions, which is like puking on everyone and waiting for people to turn all of the sinks into the red sinks, and then of course you've got this amazing shot now. It's just not fun to play against. I'm gonna put him behind the Hag, but it's still a B tier killer. Next up, we have Myers. Myers is very fun to play against, extremely fun to play. Has multiple styles of play. You have the infinite, basically stalk all the time until you get to that point. You have the tombstone plays. Those are a lot of fun and very rewarding. And once you get that, it's game over. Then you have longer tier 3, shorter to get to tier 3. Then there's the mirrors. I mean, there's just so much fun to happen from this killer. But what I will say is he does have a few pitfalls. Once people know it's a Myers, they're going to be watching, so the element of surprise is gone. If you don't have the right map for certain add-ons, it's good at Vienna. He's very tall. He stands out. Very easy to see. Very easy to pick up where he is. That kind of hinders him. But he's super strong in the right hands, waiting to chub off that tier 3 and waiting, being at tier 2, last little bit, getting someone on the hook, then going tier 3. You could easily 4K with this killer. He's very strong. So my only question is he S strong or is he A strong? Myers is super strong, but he doesn't have that flexibility. I feel like 2Ks and 3Ks are very, very common, whereas 4Ks aren't as common. I'm going to put him at A tier. Compared to the Spirit has a lot of being able to maneuver quicker, lot of pallet plays to there, whereas Myers doesn't have that. He's kind of like a meat and potatoes kind of killer, but the stalking element really makes him exciting. Moving on, I'm going to put Wraith as one of the stronger killers. Now, a lot of people will disagree with this. This is after his rework. A lot of his add-ons help, but he's not super add-on reliant. Yeah, flashlights kind of ruin his fun, But there's the Bell add-on that makes it so hard for people to understand where he is, where some of them are silent. He can see people while invisible, through walls, things like that. And there's a lot of variety there. He's also underestimated by so many people. He's definitely not a D, C, or B tier, but he's not quite an SS or an S. I think he's very firmly at an A tier. He's not the worst, he's not the best, but he's just better than the average. I'm putting him at the A tier, like above the middle, but Myers is still more powerful than him because they're both kind of a stealthy killer, but once the stealth is gone, once they know it's you, they know to look for you, and they know what to look for. The Wraith isn't particularly scary anymore. He's the second killer to come into the game. In the beginning, he was God because you didn't know how to counter him. Now you do. Moving on, we're going to go to the Trapper. I have a lot of fun playing the Trapper. Trapper is a fun killer to play, but Trapper can only be super effective up until green ranks. Above that, it's hard to be as effective. It's not impossible, but the biggest Achilles heel for a Trapper is going to be any kind of survival friends. If you're playing with friends, you tell them it's a Trapper. You can tell them, hey, there's a trap here. Don't get rid of it. Trapper's never gonna move it. And it pretty much takes that trap out of the game, but it also takes that loop out of the game. So it's kind of like, okay, there's something for something there, quid pro quo kind of. At the same time though, he is super fast, and he makes up for. So even if your traps are kind of out of the game, you still have a very fast killer. I'm gonna put the Trapper. He's either an A tier or a B tier. I think because he can't be as effective at the high ranks, and typically I'm at high ranks, I'm gonna put him at B tier. But I'm gonna put him above the Hag because his traps. There's add-ons to make them reset. There's add-ons to make it hurt, to disarm. They take windows out. I mean, a Hag, you can just pop a bunch of traps. They don't harm you. I mean, yeah, there's add-ons to have collision, things like that. I just don't think the traps are as nerve-wracking as when you're going up against a Trapper, and you have to watch out the tall grass. All right, next up, we're kind of on the home stretch here. We're going to talk about the Huntress. Let's start off by saying I don't believe I'm that great at Huntress. I have my moments. I don't have enough time vested in her to get the aim perfect. And I get frustrated when I play this killer, but that's not going to change the fact that the Huntress is an insanely powerful killer in the right hands, and 4King is almost effortless for those group of people who spend a lot of time on this killer. She's slow and can get into loops where there's no escape, but that's for the killer to be smart enough to know I can't do anything here, or it's not going to be worth my time, I need to move on. Huntress in general is very strong. I'm saying A, maybe an S tier. In fact, I would say probably an S tier. Now, my question is, do I believe in my hands the Huntress is more powerful than the Spirit? I'm going to say no. Now, other people would probably put the Spirit behind the Huntress, but in my hands, the Huntress isn't as powerful. That being said, I'm pretty happy with this list so far. There's nothing on here that I think is too alarming. Maybe some people are mad about the Hag or the Plague, or maybe even the Trapper. Definitely going to piss some people off with the Huntress there. But, again, it's my ability to 4K on that killer. Still a very strong killer. Next up, Tum-Tums. Tum-Tums has not had much of a rework. Has not been focused on. Excuse me. And is an instant down killer, a lot like the Billy. Has a chainsaw, but can't ride it out. He just wildly swings. Now, his power being able to do that, multiple people, makes him a basement fiend. If you can get to that basement, get one person in the basement, that's good night, Vienna. There's not much you can do against that, but he's also a very slow killer. He isn't as strong as he used to be because there's been a lot more killers coming out that have decreased the size of the fields, essentially. Him being as slow as he is kind of brings him back, and I'm going to put him in a B tier. But if I have to put him in a B tier, where am I going to put him? He's definitely worse than the Trapper. I think he's worse than the Hag. Now, the Plague, I think he's worse than the Plague. I'm going to put him right at the end here in B tier. Plague is better because of the distance and one hit kind of thing, and not having to charge up a chainsaw for it. Next up, we've got the brand new killer to the game, and I'm doing this right after the patch for Oni, is Oni. With certain add-ons, Oni is completely broken right now, and I have so much fun playing as this killer right now. It's kind of scary. Personally, I think Oni is a lot more powerful than he's given credit for. The buzz has died down. Not a lot of people play the Oni, but I think he's strong. I really do. And with the right add-ons, he's a little ridiculous. Specifically, his glove add-on that allows you to see people when they're standing in blood bubbles or whatever. That just opens up the whole field, and then the one hit down is awesome. The charging is awesome. Knowing when to do certain things is just ridiculous. It certainly makes it easier to 4K on him. So he's got touches of Myers in there. He's got touches of Billy in there. Even Spirit. And it's really cool to see like a lot of different angles and a lot of different things being done with a killer. That puts him, to me, I think, at an A tier. So my question is he stronger than Myers? Myers by himself with no add-ons and an Oni by himself with no add-ons, I think Myers is better. But I think Oni's better than Wraith. Wraith is kind of hindered by flashlights, kind of hindered by what map, the right perks. Sometimes add-ons help, all add-ons help, but that can really slow someone down with not having the right add-ons for the right situation. Oni doesn't need those add-ons as much, though he's not quite an S tier. Next up, we got the Pig. Pig ended up seeing a little bit of an update a couple months back where traps won't activate in the post game. That really brings her down. Without that, I'm saying she was an A tier, purely because you could slow the game down to a crawl if that's what you wanted to do, and then you could also scare people. You have no terror radius when you crouch. Yeah, it takes a minute to crouch, but it's still very strong. Without those things, I think it brings the Pig now down to a B tier, like right where the Hag is, to be honest. Kind of slow, not the fastest. Once you're out of traps, you're out of traps. There's no getting them back. Luck is a huge factor. Sometimes all the survivors are going to get the helmets off immediately. The first one, the second one. That happens, you're kind of screwed. You've used your weapon at that point, and now you're just a melee killer. In the right hands, can be very powerful, very, very strong. But I think in my hands and the average player, probably B tier. Now, stronger than Bubba, for sure, Tum Tums. But is she better than the Plague? I think so, because it slows the game down. Like the Plague, you can get on a gen and continue being on the gen and complete that gen even though you're sick the whole time. Whereas with the helmet flashing, you can't do that. So I think that brings her higher. Is she better than the Hag? I think she slows the game down more than the Hag can. And the Hag is just slower than she needs to be in order to be a little bit more productive. But I don't think she's better than the Trapper. The Trapper has a lot of different add-ons for those traps and a lot of places, and he can pick them up and move them. And once the Pig uses the traps, it's over. You can't get them back. And if you wait too long, then it's useless. So that you got to be really experienced to play her extremely well, and it takes a lot of time. And so I'm putting her a B tier. Next up, we got the Doctor. We're down to the last 5 killers in the game. Doctor just got a rework. Now, I'm not counting the rework because I have not experienced it yet. It just came out today as I do this video. That brings us to, hey, where do we think the Doctor is? I think the Doctor's more powerful than people give him credit for, but I just don't see him getting those 4Ks as much as possible. Definitely not an SS or an S or even an A. Maybe a B, C, or D. Somewhere in there. Better than Legion, so I'm not even going to do a D. Worse than Bubba. It surprised me. We used to see a lot of the Doctor. Now you don't really see a lot of the Doctor. 9 times out of 10, the way you die to a doctor is you're about to vault a window and you scream. And I just don't think he slows the game down enough. And so, like, if he was a B, he's worse than Bubba. And he's worse than the Plague. Worse than... So, I'm just going to have to put him at C tier. He's better than Legion. And more... I mean, outside of that initial scream to find out where people are, there's not much of an advantage to the Doctor. And I think that's the problem. And I'll have to look at this new update and then maybe change him up. But yeah, that's where I'm going to put him for this. Next up, we got Ghostface, one of the newer killers to Dead by Daylight. Kind of like a pig, but faster. So I'm going to set it at a B or higher tier. If I think the whole stalking aspect, it doesn't work as well as they hoped it would. People are really good at realizing what's going on and moving. I mean, once in a while, you're going to catch someone with their pants down, and you're going to get them, and you're going to get them good. But most of the time, you're not going to have that. So between that and knowing when not to stalk and when to stalk, you can be very powerful. I've been playing him a lot lately, and I've been getting 4Ks a lot. Making a lot of points, getting a lot of 30K point games. Just essentially running wild with him, and I think his ability to crouch and get rid of his terror radius just makes it so easy to pull someone off the gen. There's just a lot of diversity here, a lot of ability to make things big. I'm gonna put him at A tier. Now we got to decide where he kind of falls in that. I think he's better than Wraith. He's better than Oni. Is he better than Myers? I'm going to say no, he's not better than Myers, but it's not by much. Myers has the edge because all of his add-ons increase this tier 3 time, and it's a period of time when you can be effective, and you can trigger that when you want. Now, the same, you can trigger it with Ghostface, but as soon as you get seen, you're done. That's gone. You can be seen on Myers and run a straight line, and he can tier 3 off you. And that's the difference there. So I'm going to put him A tier, but 1 behind Myers. So he's strong, not Myers strong. Next up, we got Freddie. Freddie just got a rework here within the last couple months. Really addressing a lot of his problems, revamping all of his add-ons, revamping his style of play. Now everyone has a timer when they start the match. It's annoying. Everyone knows it's you, that it's going to be a Freddie since you start the game. Yeah, he's very strong. He's got different add-ons to replace pallets. That's strong mind game right there. Now, if you don't have that, there's these bubbles blood you put on the ground, slows people down. There's a lot of room to mind game around pallets, transferring to all sorts of different gens across the map. So there's a lot of variety here. He's strong. He has a lot of presence on the map. To me, this makes him either a B or an A tier. Trying to figure out. We'll start with B. Is he stronger than Bubba? Yes. As the Plague? Yes. I think he's stronger than both the Pig and the Hag because of the way he can transfer on a whim. He doesn't need an add-on to do that. At the same time, you put traps down. Really gets people. But he does have this huge Achilles heel, which is the waking up thing. The question is he stronger than Wraith? To put him in that category, is he in the category of A? And I don't think he is quite on a Wraith's level. It's close. It's very close. You know what? I'm gonna have to put him in A tier behind the Wraith. He's a A minus B plus killer. Because sometimes the games can run away from you. Other times, like if they get 2 gens right off the bat, like 2 people are working on this gen, 2 people are working on that gen, and you're at 3, you're barely going to get people in the dream world. And it's just going to slow you down, and everything is going to just not go your way. And that can happen a lot. But at the same time, Trapper, I mean, at rank 1, this guy can do it. Whereas Trapper at rank 1 has trouble. Because they're going to know where your traps are. You're going to have to be very clever with your placements. I'm going to put him on A tier. I think he's strong. He's just not as strong as the Wraith. Next up, we have the Demogorgon. Now, Demo, in theory, is a beautiful killer. he munches people under rank 10. He's kind of like the Trapper in that regard, is that he's very strong, but he's hindered by when you go up and up and up and up. When you start getting into those higher ranks, it becomes obvious that he's a little too slow. People can get rid of his portals on the ground for the transfer, and he can only have 6. If they don't get rid of them, you're kind of stuck with yours, so you could make a mistake and put it in the wrong place, and then it really just hurts you for the rest of the game. His add-ons are strong, but he's very add-on dependent to do well beyond rank, I say, 10. With that kind of puts him in the C tier, I think. Is he stronger than the Doctor? Yeah, he is. He's stronger than the Doctor. Is he stronger than Bubba? Tum-Tums? In the right circumstances, yes, but on the average, no, he's not. And so I'm going to put him in a C tier. I think he needs to be faster. If he gained a little bit of speed, he would be a B tier. If he gained like a blood trail ability or something like that, he'd be A tier. So, like being able to track blood easier. There's an easy way to balance that killer. But again, where he is right now, that's the stuff. That's where I'm putting him. All right, last killer, and this one's gonna be controversial because I've been playing a lot of the Clown lately. I never really truly liked the Clown. I thought he was kind of too slow, not very fun to play against, not very fun. But he's easy to avoid. You just go from one pallet loop to the other. As soon as he smokes it, you move on. So he is counterable, and that takes him out of an SS or an S pretty quickly. But getting 4Ks on him, he gets underestimated a lot. With that underestimation, he's able to catch up to people quick, dome people in the back of the head. You got to play extremely well when somebody's playing well on the Clown to make a 4K not a thing. So he's either B tier or A tier. I think he's an A tier killer. He's up there. He's one of my all-time favorites to play now. I don't believe I would have said that just a month ago, 2 months ago. I'm going to put him in A tier. Now, the question is he better than Freddie? And I'm going to say yes to that. Is he better than the Wraith? I'm going to say yes to that as well. Is he better than Oni? And at the end of the day, I think not. It's close, but he's not better than Oni. And the reason why he's not better than Oni is he can get add-ons to one-hit down people if they're in the smoke. He can slow people down. He can add all sorts of things to his tonic. But Oni has field presence and can go from one side of the building, one side of the map to the other, pretty quickly. And I just think that's more valuable than being able to just have these short chases and stop people from pallet looping. Still very strong, but that's what it is. So this is my first tier list. I'm sure you're going to disagree with some of the calls. Now, keep in mind, this is for me and how I've played the killer without trying to tunnel, without trying to camp, without trying to be a douchebag, and trying to play fair. At the same time, there are going to be people who disagree with this. I completely understand. Please put your comments down in the comment section below or on the website or Discord. Let me know what you think about my tier list. I'll be posting it in Discord as well as on YouTube, and we'll be doing more of these tier lists here soon, so I hope you like it. Once again, we got the SS. We're starting off with the Nurse, then Billy, then I think the S tier next best killer is the Spirit, followed by the Huntress, Myers in A tier, Ghostface, Oni, Clown, Wraith, and then Freddie, Trapper, Pig, Hag, Plague, Bubba or Tum-Tums, and then Demo, Doctor, and Legion. And Legion's it's just not that fun to play, and it's not easy to 4K. That's why Legion's the worst killer in the game. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you had a blast. Please check out the rest of the videos I have on the channel. Plenty of videos coming up for you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, month, year. I'll see you on twitch.tv/videogamemashup. Peace.